not price, which most people don't get. I know
Can
you
you
do, but
can you
most don't.
just elaborate for everyone that's listening?
Yeah, so it doesn't. If it's a stock, it doesn't matter if it's $1 a share or $1,000 a share. It's what the return. If it's a house, it doesn't matter if it's 50 grand or 500 grand. It's my return.
Mm-hmm.
And we just came through an era where prices were ridiculously high. Most markets are overvalued currently. However, we had a perfect combination of extraordinarily low interest rates and extraordinarily high rents. When you put those together, the monthly spreads were incredible.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, we've been making $800 to $1,100 per month per house. The exact same neighborhoods where I used to make $144 a month, and I bought them for 50 grand. But different things. And so the presentation is around. I look at this two ways. Most salespeople only talk to the surface conscious needs. Yet, any bit of study, you know that the conscious mind only processes a fraction of the information that goes in. The subconscious mind is where we make most of our large decisions, most of our emotional decisions, and most of our important decisions, yet almost everybody in sales never, ever speaks to the subconscious mind. So they just try and overwhelm the client with facts and information and details, wondering why the client just digs in more and more obstinately against what they're selling. And they end up having arguments with their clients, and they walk out, well, he was stupid. It's like, well, you're the one who was trying to raise money, and you didn't get any.
Yeah.
So we know that I'll walk in a client, and they're like, oh, well, it needs to be this type of asset, and I need this sort of return, and I need this. And they'll have this laundry list of items. Yet, in having the conversation, we know that they have a large portion of money that isn't placed. Well, up until 6 months ago, if you had any significant amount of capital not placed, that was entirely subconscious and emotional, not conscious, because consciously, you should have been in something.
Yeah.
I mean, in before the crash of '87, I was moving your assets out of that mutual fund with fleas and that Credit Fourplex in Albuquerque. You were trading your assets to buy my perceived better assets.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a good chunk of that in, that 3, 4, 5 era before we closed the fund, where people were moving their assets to ours. And people go, why did you close? It's because I worked for a return and I couldn't place the money safely for a return that was acceptable. So we closed to new money. We've closed shop 3 times just because it made sense.
The market no longer made sense.
Market no longer made sense at a high scale.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we focus on is meeting those subconscious emotional needs. And the core base need around money that people have, almost everybody who has money, and so you can ask your broke friend, but who really cares what their opinion is? They're not a client. They're not potential. The number one need most people have, other than you and I and people who are serial entrepreneurs, the number one need most people have is safety.
Yeah.
The next thing is security. This is interesting. In 90% of the cases when I'm raising money, the word that I need to hit on a subconscious level with you and your emotions and your psyche is 75% of the time the word is safety, 25% the word is security. I have no idea what the difference is because you make up your own definition.
I was about to ask you.
And the analogy I use that's close is like, look, the difference between honesty and integrity. You can look them up in the dictionary. They're synonyms. They're very similar. For most people, honesty is like, hey, I don't tell a direct lie. Now, as a salesman, you may omit some pretty material facts.
Mm-hmm.
You may exaggerate your positions, et cetera, where, my grandfather was an admiral. He did 49 years in the Navy. He lived what to me was the definition of integrity. And integrity was doing the right thing for the right reasons every single time, whether it's good for you or not.
Right.
That's a huge difference between safety.
Yeah.
Between honesty, rather. So most people inside, they have a definition of safety or security on a subconscious level that they're usually not consciously in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
If I can, in my presentation as a salesperson, if I can meet that highest, biggest emotional need, it's about 90% of the placement.
Got it.
Because if I took care of your safety need for your $1 million that wasn't currently in the market, and we took care of that need, we don't really need to do much more. We don't need to do our dog and pony show. So we literally, and so